How do you fix this thing? Sorry.
We'll just do it later.
Okay.
Because I can use this one first. Ini.
My name is Inyobong Monday.
Ini
Monday.
Monday, okay.
Yes.
Welcome inside the locker room.
And yes, we're back inside the locker room for a Friday morning. The next 30 minutes bringing you all the big stories for a Friday. My name is Victor Pepple. Usually you have Take a Tiger in the studio, but hey, this Friday morning we have a new voice. Not new, I mean, you know him, you love him. He's always here once in a while. In your bong Monday, good morning.
Good morning, Victor. Great pleasure to be here this morning. Had been a lot of traffic to be here,
I
and
can imagine.
it's raining cats and dogs and every other domestic animal. It's crazy this morning.
It was a similar experience for me this morning, but hey, we're here. We're live in the studio. Now, you can be part of the show sending messages into our WhatsApp portal 009 Send tweets at Smooth981FM. We're streaming live on YouTube, Smooth981FM Lagos. Here are some of the stories for you today. Moses Simon Amao nominated for CAF Awards. Joshua Usyk rematch building momentum. Also, Tottenham agrees Richarlison deal. And Calvin Phillips set for City Medical. Andre Murray suffers earliest Wimbledon exit. Rafa Nadal moves into third round at Wimbledon. And Lukaku completes return to Inter on loan from Chelsea. Let's get the show started with this one. Super Eagles midfielders Moses Simon and Akinwumi Amao have been shortlisted in the nominees list for the Confederation of Africa Football Awards 2022. Ini, this is good news, yes.
Yeah, it is good news for Moses Simon. I think he, by any stretch of the imagination, you would think that he's had a very accomplished year. Won the French Cup with Nantes, even though with the Super Eagles, it didn't quite go according to plan. Knocked out of the second round of the quarterfinals, so second round, I should say, of the Africa Cup of Nations in January. Failed to qualify for the World Cup later on in the year. Had a lot of stick for that, but as an individual, I think it's been a good year for him. So to be nominated as one of the players for the Player of the Year award, we know he's not going to win. We certainly know he's not going to win, but you always get that feeling of being nominated, being recognized for having a stellar year. And I think Moses Simon will be very, very pleased. The other boy, Akinwumi Amao, it's a kid on the block, burst onto the scene with the under 17 last year, but has managed to build some reputation. First in Hammarby with Sweden, and now currently at FC Copenhagen in Denmark, and he's done pretty well for himself. To be nominated for Young Player of the Year award is quite fantastic. But the story for me is the fact that Victor Osimhen was not even recognized as one of the best players on the African continent. He will be very frustrated with that, even though you would argue that it was a Cup of Nations here and he didn't play in the Nigerian team, no thanks to injury, and that would frustrate him a lot. But I just feel that he's someone who we should have been at least given a recognition as one of the best players.
All right, great info there. But let's keep this going. The last time Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua were together in London, oh, you know what happened. Usyk dealt with Anthony Joshua, punishing 12 rounds defeat at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to dethrone Anthony Joshua and take his IBF, WBA, WBO heavyweight titles. And the fighters would return to the capital for a press conference on Wednesday ahead of their August 20th rematch in Saudi Arabia. In fact, some say that Joshua is on a revenge mission.
He is on a revenge mission, and I'm a bit worried though, because so sometimes when you go into when you go into a fight like this with a bit of a vendetta, you really want to go in there and show this guy that, oh, come on, what happened was a fluke. But I don't think what happened in the first time was a fluke. Alexander Usyk is a very good fighter. He has got a punch or two about him, and Joshua has got to be very wary. And I give credit to Joshua because I think he's worked really hard. He's built himself over the years, and to be able to get to where he is at the moment is not a fluke by any stretch, and he knows it. But for Alexander Usyk, he's got to come into this kind of match with a lot of preparation, with a lot of tact. What did I do the last time that I'm not at? What did I do the last time wrong that I want to get right this time around? Those are the questions Joshua would be asking himself. He's talking really tough. He's talking about his readiness to be able to, get in the ring on August 20th and show this guy that he's Anthony Joshua. I'm top of the class, and I'm that good. And they're both talking tough, and Usyk is saying, look, I know you're ready. I'm ready as well. We're gonna go in there and fight as men. We're gonna go in there and square it out and sort it out once and for all. I worry for Joshua though, because I think Alexander Usyk has got a real punch about him, and he's very experienced. He just knows what to do. He may not be elegant as Joshua, but he knows what to do.
But what if Joshua goes there again and gets bitten?
Yeah, that's where you're worried. You're really worried, because that could be career ending. That really could be career ending, and he doesn't want that.
But what are his chances?
His chances are that it's a 50-50 chance, to be fair, because I just feel that obviously with the disappointment of what happened in London, you would think that Joshua would have sat back, you watched that clip again and again and again. How do I approach this? You're not approaching this as the favorite. You're not going into this bout as a favorite, and you're going in as an underdog because you were beaten, and you were beaten squarely. And he would know that he's got to do a lot more. He's got to work harder twice to be able to beat Usyk. Usyk is a tough competitor, and he would bring his A game, certainly.
All right, let's keep this moving. Tottenham have concluded deal to sign Richarlison from Everton for £50 million plus, up to £10 million in add-ons, and will announce the signing provided the forward passes the medical in Brazil.
Yeah, but Tottenham are making the right moves, and as an Arsenal fan, it shouldn't make me happy, but I think Tottenham are making really, really good moves, and Richarlison is another player that you would think would add to their firepower. Top professional, aggressive, always on the front foot. What was at the forefront of helping Everton, keep their Premier League status last time around. Antonio Conte. When you look at the profile of players Antonio Conte wants, one of the things he wants is a feisty competitor. He wants someone who can dig deep when the chips are down. And Richarlison is that kind of player. And when he's on his mettle, when he's on his game, he can be unplayable. With Richarlison, you quite don't know what you're getting, because today he's a top player. Today he's performing so well. Another day, a bit of inconsistency here and there, but I think it's a very good signing for Tottenham, and they make some really good signings. They've already signed Ivan Perisic. They've completed the loan signing of Dejan Kulusevski to a permanent deal, and we're hearing they're also interested in signing Jet Spence, the fullback, the sensation from Middlesbrough. And I think Tottenham are making some really good moves, and I'm just wondering how they're going to be able to put the pieces together. And I don't doubt Conte at all, because I think he's a very, very intelligent manager, and he would be able to get his side going. Just looking forward to having the Premier League back in another 36 days or so, because it would be feisty, it would be competitive, it would be very, very grueling come this season. And for Tottenham, I think the ambition would be, let's get into the top four again. Let's see how we can keep that position.
There were reports that Chelsea was also eyeing Richarlison.
Yeah.
But that never pulled through. In fact, there were people who were also speculating that Lewandowski would have been a better option for Chelsea than Richarlison.
Yeah, the option would be that Richarlison is younger. Lewandowski is on the wrong side of 30, but there's no question about what Lewandowski would give you. He brings you goals and he brings you immediate goals, hit the ground running kind of thing because he is a proven goal scorer. He's a top class professional, and I don't know why Chelsea didn't really go neck deep into signing Richarlison. I don't know why they didn't really pursue that particular option, even though we hear that they are more interested in his Brazilian compatriot in Rafinha from Leeds. Deal has been it's edging ever closer to being completed. I don't know, maybe the lure of Rafinha was too good. That's why they decided to say, let's not pursue Richarlison, let's go for Rafinha instead. But Richarlison is a really good addition to Tottenham, and I think he will better their team.
All right, and let's talk about Calvin Phillips. He's set to undergo a medical at Manchester City on Friday as his transfer from Leeds moves closer. Just last week, Manchester City agreed a fee in the region of 45 to 15 million pounds for the England midfielder who came through Leeds Academy and flourished under his former boss, Marcelo. And the 26-year-old will look to fill the void left by Fernandinho, yes, at City, who left the club this summer after 9 years with the club.
My goodness, Man City acting like the aristocrats that they are. They are always spending money. So somebody leaves and we don't waste time. We replace them, and that's how big clubs behave.
Right.
And Man City are really showing. Calvin Phillips, really good signing, good football midfield player. Brings that calming effect in the middle of the park. I'm not quite sure it's like for like with Fernandinho, because Fernandinho was hard tackling, very energetic midfielder. But for Calvin Phillips, he would be going to a team that is a well-oiled machine, and he's going to be just part of that team. I don't know if he walks straight into the lineup. I'm sure Rodri will have something to say about that, but it'll be interesting to see how he gets into the Man City side. Jack Grealish learned this last season. £100 million was spent on him, and everybody was excited about Jack Grealish. He goes over to Man City and can't get into the side. And for Calvin Phillips, it would be, let's see what it takes. Do I have what it takes to play for a side like City? Do I have what it takes to get into a team like City? We should see, because there's Rodri in his position already, and I think Rodri is a really fantastic footballer. And Calvin Phillips he's got himself a good deal. I think he's got himself a good deal. Obviously, better money. A chance to play in the Champions League. He's an England international, one of the first names on the starting sheet, and it would do his profile a great deal of good playing for a club like Manchester City.
And how about Sterling?
Sterling looks like he's on his way out, because it's the World Cup year. Players are scrambling to take deals or sign for clubs where there can be guaranteed regular appearances, because if you do not play regularly, the chances of you playing at the World Cup in 5 months is very thin, and Raheem Sterling knows that. And with Pep Guardiola, you're not quite sure what he wants to do, because he might decide, the tactics or the strategy we want to approach this game with doesn't fit you, so he puts you on the bench. And Raheem Sterling is at the time in his career where he needs to be playing regularly, and that's why he's pushing for a move. We're hearing Chelsea are very interested in Raheem Sterling. I don't know if that is going to materialize, but certainly you do feel that maybe, just maybe, Raheem Sterling would not be a Manchester City player at the close of the transfer window in August.
There were also reports that Arsenal was eyeing the player, but recently we heard about Gabriel Jesus getting to Arsenal, so he might just be getting to Chelsea. That's for Raheem Sterling. Ortega is also getting to Man City. Yes.
Yeah, the Ortega, the goalkeeper, of course, and Man City are making moves. We're hearing Zach Steffen, the second choice goalkeeper, is going on loan at Middlesbrough, so they needed to replace a goalkeeper. But for Raheem Sterling, I don't think Raheem Sterling would play that much for City. It doesn't look like he's in he's in the favored books of Pep Guardiola, because obviously Pep Guardiola has got a lot of options on the wings in Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, and he wants to play. He really wants to play. They've got Julian Alvarez coming, they've got Alan coming in, and those are two attacking players who could limit the appearances of Sterling. And Sterling, like I said, wants to be at the World Cup. That's why he needs to move away. And he will never lack shooters. He's a very consistent player. He plays really well when he's starting, when he's fit, when he's on his game. I think he plays as good as anyone. So he was never going to lack shooters. That's why a lot of clubs have been linked with his signature, and we've not heard the last of it.
We're discussing the summer transfer season. You too can be part of it. Send your messages into WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. On Twitter, it's at Smooth981 FM. We'll do for a break. When we do come back, some more sporting stories for you.
98.
My goodness, everyone is transpiring, everyone is moving, some taking a pay cut, some making some big bucks for themselves.
₦50,000 in the Save and Win Pali
Let's see how it
promotion.
goes.
To stand the chance of winning, simply save at least 10,000 naira into your Union Bank account every month. If you don't have an account, download the
So we're
Union
talking
mobile app or
Wimbledon
visit
when we
any
come
of our
back.
branches today. The more you save, the higher your chances of winning every month, every quarter, and at the end of the year. Terms and conditions apply.
Union Bank, your simpler, smarter bank.
Relax, recharge, and take a break this summer. Find the best summer holiday deals to Dubai, London, Cairo, Florida, and many other amazing cities on wakanow.com. We've got you covered. Book now on wakanow.com or visit any of our travel centers near you. Take a break, pick a city. Wakanow. Let's go.
Everyone always says I look young and ageless, and I just smile because deep down, I know who to thank. Being with you is refreshing. Aquafina, my dearest paddy of life.
Your party of life.
Just like with Ensure, everyone needs a paddy of life. So stay hydrated and refreshed always with Aquafina Premium Drinking Water from the makers of Pepsi. Aquafina, your paddy of life.
This is Paul, and you are listening to Smooth Breakfast.
All right, we're back inside the locker room. My name is Victor Pepple, and we have Inilbong Monday, also live in the studio, bringing analysis of some of the big sporting stories all around the world. Let's take it to, Wimbledon now, where Andy Murray suffered his earliest ever defeat at Wimbledon on Wednesday, beating 6-4, 7-6, 7-4, 6-7, 3-7, 6-4 by Big Seven John Isner in the second round. The British two-time champion, who's 35, struggled to tame the giant, that's America's serve, and failing to break once in the match on center court.
Yeah, so very sad for Andy Murray, because I was here last Friday building up to Wimbledon, and he talked about the fact that he believes he can really perform creditably well, and he was ambitious enough to say he can go on to win the Wimbledon. He's won it 2 times, and why not have a crack at the third one? And I thought it was lofty ambitions. I thought it was a tall dream, and it's proven to be so, because against John Isner, he couldn't stand a chance. The because of the big serve of the American, and he struggled all through. Even though he won the third set, looked like he was going to make a contest out of it, but John Isner quickly blew him out of the water, and it's quite frustrating for Andy Murray because of injuries. You look at there's a top quality tennis player in there, but he just can't find that level anymore because of loss of form, injuries culminating into loss of form, and it's quite tough for him. And I can imagine how frustrated he is at the moment, because there's no one questioning your tennis ability. Nobody questioning that you cannot play. Even John Isner said it. I don't think I'm a better tennis player than him. I'm just, on the day, I'm in better shape. I was in better mood than him, because for Andy Murray, it's always the challenge is, can you stay fit? Can you stay fit? Can you stay in great shape for a good long time, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months? He can't quite find that level anymore because of injuries, and it wasn't a surprise to be. I've got to be honest that John is now shoved him aside, and I don't know where he goes from here, which is my next line of thought. I don't know where he goes from here. Obviously, he's a tough character. He wants to keep fighting on. He wants to play in the next Grand Slam. He's hoping that he can do things. Probably he would believe, because he's a very tough character. He would believe that somehow he's got a Grand Slam in him before he retires, and whether he can materialize that, whether he can achieve that, I'm not totally sure, but I wouldn't doubt him. I wouldn't question him, because professionalism has always been up there. His level of concentration, his focus has always been good. But the problem now is getting himself fit and in great shape for a long period.
But it just looks like all the big stars from the past aren't getting it right. I'm sorry to bring Serena Williams into this conversation as well.
Yeah, so Serena, I mean, I always say that everything that has a beginning certainly has an end.
And is this a great way to end?
Maybe it's not a great way to end, but obviously with Serena, that as a top tennis player, and she would know why she's not performing well. She would know why things aren't going to plan, whether it's psychological, whether there are things she's dealing with that we do not know. But we do know that when Serena is on song, she is as good as anyone in the game, and she believes, she's got that incredible self-belief that she can achieve this thing. She can do something. She can get one more Grand Slam, like I talked about. Andy Murray. You would think that she would have that belief, but it's not just happening at the moment, and only she can dig in deep and get out that performance that we all know how to be. But even though you would think about it and say, players decline, and it's a normal thing. Sometimes it's a slow decline, sometimes it's a quick decline. But when things aren't going according to plan, like they are at the moment with Serena and Andy Murray, you just begin to ask, is it time to say goodbye?
I mean, but she just needs that 24th Grand Slam. But let's take this message in from Chimobi Victor, who says that Andy Murray successfully disappointed himself and his fans, because his defeat didn't come as a surprise at all. Him and Sister Serena needs to take a chill pill for now, as we need fresh blood. But let's still talk about Rafa Nadal, who's through to the third round of the Wimbledon Championships after facing another test on Thursday. Nadal made it successive 4-set victories after being pushed by Serendulu in his first round match on Tuesday.
Yeah, Rafa Nadal, another cream of the crop, and another one who you feel would fancy his chances of getting another Grand Slam this year, even though Novak Djokovic would certainly have something to say about that. But Rafael Nadal, even though he didn't quite start well in this one, but you think that in the end there's far too much experience, too much quality to be able to get past Cherundolo. And it's a good one for him, because he's just won a major, the last major, and he's excited about it. He's building a lot of momentum and steam, heading into the latter rounds of the Wimbledon. And in the end, you would think that it would be between Nadal and Djokovic, except something really strange of incredible proportions happen. You would think that they certainly will meet each other somewhere in Wimbledon.
Okay, and let's talk about Romelu Lukaku just before we wrap things up, who's returned to Inter Milan after completing a season-long loan from Chelsea just a year after his transfer, but they call it flop transfer from Italy to the Premier League club. Now, Lukaku will be reunited with his former fans at Chelsea, and after they agreed to a reported deal in which Inter will pay an initial €8 million plus a potential 3 million in bonuses for the loan.
Yeah, for Romelu Lukaku, I've had these conversations with a lot of people, and the conversation I'm having with people, it's whether Lukaku flopped at Chelsea, because I don't think Lukaku flopped at Chelsea. I don't believe that Lukaku flopped, because For me, if you say a player flopped, there has to be a clear line, a clear basis for, oh, he flopped. And the basis for Lukaku flopping here is that Lukaku didn't score 25 goals, he didn't lead Chelsea to winning a trophy and all what. But the question is, did Lukaku get enough playing time? And these are questions I'm throwing to Chelsea fans. Do you think Lukaku had enough playing time last season? I don't think so. Because I would go to a manager and say, if you sign a player for 97.5 million pounds and you throw that kind of money to sign a player, you have to do everything it takes to make the move work. And I don't think Chelsea did all it takes. I would say the manager, Thomas Tuchel, I don't think he did all it took for Lukaku to succeed, because you've got to play to his strengths. I mean, you can't buy a player for that amount of money and not give him what he wants. Play to his strengths. Footballers are different. Strikers are different. They have different skill sets. And in order to make the team work, the man who is the focal point has to be the guy who the team is playing to. And if you're not playing to the guy who's the focal point, it just doesn't make any sense. And Thomas Tuchel is a very, proud man. Is a very, arrogant guy. And I say arrogant, not in a bad way, but he's someone who believes in himself incredibly. He's a purist in some way. He believes in what he does and how he goes about and how he approaches the game. And I don't fault him. I appreciate that. But when you've got a player like Lukaku and you spend that ton of money for him, you've got to play to his strength. I certainly did have that feeling that Chelsea didn't utilize Lukaku very well last season, and not against the narrative that Lukaku flopped. Having said that, Lukaku clearly wants to play. He wants to be at a club where he's happy, where he's got great memories. He had a good 2 years with Inter Milan before coming to Chelsea, and he's really, really looking forward to launching back that relationship he had with the club, the fans, and the city. And let's just see if this would be a good move. People have said, why not stay at Chelsea and fight? Why not stay and battle and try to prove to the manager that you're Romelu Lukaku, you deserve all that money.
He's tired of proving all of that point, Ini. In fact, I hear Chelsea fans are angry at his new jersey number. He's now wearing the number 90, and they seem to be reacting angrily to this new shirt that he's got at Inter.
Fans will always be fans, but you've got to let the man play. You've got to allow the man. He's made his decisions. There's certain things. Just like the interview he granted. He said he's been in touch with the Inter Milan manager since he left. Since even when he was at Chelsea. I didn't think it's something you want to see. Maybe that's where the disgruntlement with the fans stems from. And look, Lukaku is a top player. He's an absolutely top bloke, and I think anywhere he goes, I think he with the right enabling environment, he would score goals.
Padre on YouTube says, I disagree with Ini on the Lukaku flop. He flopped. How else do you describe a striker of his caliber playing and Akai scoring? Meanwhile, the time he played, his contribution to the team was
Lukaku was the top scorer. I hear what you say, but Lukaku was the top scorer last season, and Kai Havertz played more matches than him. So Kai Havertz is not a number 9. To play Kai Havertz ahead of Lukaku is an absolute travesty. I do not understand why a manager makes a decision like that. And I like Kai Havertz. I think he's a good footballer. I just don't think he's a number 9.
All right, Ini, we need to go. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. The show comes back again on Monday at 8:15. My name is Victor Purple. Enjoy the rest of your day.
This is Gold's Rap.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Smoothest dial on Lagos Radio.
Why don't you stay?
Bye, everyone. We need to go. Thank you for watching.